Let's explore the lifelong impact of childhood and the invisible bridge that connects it to our adult lives. So, with this training session, bringing warmth, wisdom, and real world insights to the stage, please welcome the phenomenal Sandeep Kaur Oberoi.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello. So I read long ago that we are a bit of everyone whom we happen to meet in our lives. I repeat that. We are a bit of everyone whom we happen to meet in our lives. And that makes me feel so great today and very apt because I'm meeting a lot of ignited minds. Ignited minds because they are not the minds who are powering themselves, and they are here to influence everybody else too. And definitely we know places where we discuss ideas, they definitely are the wonderful ones. So if you are admiring this confluence, you are happy about the stage, and you wish to appreciate the forum that has been created, join me in applauding each one's presence and Arthur Sherry too. So I'll take you for a brief activity. If someone could help me with it. Thank you so much. Anybody's doing it? If you could have that. So for this brief activity, if you trust me, I request you to sit comfortably in your chairs and preferably keep your feet on the ground. One hand on the chest and the other hand on your stomach. I request each one of you. And if so far you are comfortable, the next step is to close your eyes. So just follow my voice. Take a breath in. And heart to heart, count 4. Hold that breath up to 4 seconds. And then exhale through your mouth. Through your mouth. The longer the exhalation, the better it is. One more round. We inhale. We count 4. Hold up to the count of 4. And exhale through our mouths, making that some sound of spew, if possible. One more time. We repeat the process, and during this time, we try to observe the movement of our hands, how our stomach gets inflated. Hold the breath to the count of 4, and exhale through your mouth. Longer and longer. Now continuing your journey, I take you to that day of your childhood when you were really happy. It's a beautiful experience. I want you to visualize, go back to that day with your eyes closed preferably. Notice who all are around you. What is that memory about? Feel the things that you can touch. Is there someone specific around you? The people who count important in your lives? What can you hear? What can you smell possibly? Now come back to your body and feel how's your body feeling right now about it. and give that memory a name, preferably, if convenient. And once you are done, you may open your eyes at your own pace and come back to the present. How was that experience? I really want to know that. Could you go back to any specific memory, and would anybody like to share? Please do so.
I saw myself switching on and off my monitor television. I saw my mom shouting at me. I saw my dad putting food for me. I saw my sister in her room. Unfortunately, they are no more with me, all three of them. So, at the same time, I'm feeling pain in my heart that I'm not with them right now. I'm really emotional.
You made me emotional as well when you were talking about your family. So I'm sure we all have, thank you so much for sharing that bit. I'm sure if we really tried, we were able to flow in those times. So this is the magic of childhood. And when I say what happens in childhood never stays in childhood, please go to the previous slide. So the topic that I have chosen, actually, this event made me choose it. Before that, I hadn't connected the dots, very honestly speaking. It says, beyond childhood, the secret bridge between parenting and adult well-being. I'll bring the connect now when we move. So I take you for a walk through my therapy room. I'm a child counselor, a family therapist. So I remember sitting across a young adult. He's 29-year-old, and we would call him Arjun, which is a pseudonym. So this man comes to me and he tells me, "Ma'am, everything else in my life is perfect other than the love life." So he was looking into a relationship with a girl, and that was the only area he said, "I am facing a concern." Rest, when I helped him, I asked him to tell me a bit more. He said that, "Ma'am, I'm a completely self-made man. And I remember earning my first crore. And now post that, one after the other, how I've done that." He also mentioned that he doesn't like to lose arguments. And what most triggers him was when his girlfriend said no to anything or she ever got into an argument. So apparently he said that everything else is well placed. But when I looked a little closer and we delved deeper, I saw a lot of pain. And there were spillovers, there were struggles in every corner of his life. He used to get into major debates and fights with his parents, poor relationship. Then at the drop of the hat, he could get into road rage, and he mentions that everything else was in place. Well, because of that, because of the relationship, he had approached me, and that's what we would take as our case study when we move a little further. The third slide now, please. Thank you. So I'm a child counselor, a family therapist, and well, my journey has been actually where I discovered the simple things which I'm going to bring today. So when I was a 21-year-old graduate, little did I know what subjects I have to choose, but I chose child development as my first subject. So it went on, I did my master's, and then marriage happened, and then my biological responsibilities. Post that, when my children started going to the school, that's when I thought of starting my career. And I was lucky enough that, in fact, I thought of writing, penning down my views. So a series on parenting, it found a place in Hindustan Times. So it was a regular series which was appearing in HD Live Faridabad. So at that same point, I also got an opportunity an option to join one of the most prestigious educational institutions of Faridabad. So whatever I had studied in books, I got to live that. I was working with live individuals. They were my subjects. They were the little children. Working with children, I found whatever you give them, you receive manifold. It was a very impressionable stage, a vulnerable stage. They are like sponges, and each one of them felt beautiful when they are told that they were unique, rather when they were made to experience. That's the beauty of humankind. So moving further, there was upgradation going on, and I went steady with my job, having a lot of beautiful experiences. One thing I found that if I was working with children within my domain, life was good, children were doing very well. But once they went back to their own environments, the problems were cropping up again. So I started involving their parents too, and that actually made me think that the social environment is very, very significant. Now, post that, it went on, and 2 decades, I was steady with the job. Of course, the upgradation process continued. So 3 years ago, in 2022, July, same month, I called it quits and I left my job because I had dreams to follow, I had my passion, and that's where I am. So 3 years now, I started this center by the name Soulful Sojourn, Center for Counseling and Learning. So if you could click that. A journey which had begun, please move further. A journey which had begun helping little children, their families, it moved on. Ma'am, next slide, please. If I can work with here. Yeah. So from helping the school faculty to university faculties. And then I had the privilege of working with people from all walks of life. They were those people, they were seasoned pediatricians, they were chartered accountants, they were coaches from Kalusarai, Fiji coaches, there were PhD scholars, there were so many people, even civil services aspirants. But what I found was that there was a common thread, an invisible thread, and the pain was common. What I mean over here is that what started in childhood, it continued in childhood. Now, what defines anyone's story a little differently to make us all understand? Excuse me, are you all with me? Awaaz nahi kisi ki aayi. So I felt like it's too boring or monotonous or I'm off the subject. Thank you so much, thank you. Thank you so much. So I continue. So when I was trying to find that, and I bring for our convenience of understanding over here, what defines the difference and what makes us different? It is basically the attachment theory. What kind of attachments a young child forms when the child comes into this world? The first attachment we call as the early attachment is the blueprint that the child takes with himself, whether it is his love life, whether it's professional life, whether it's dealing with peers or anyone else for that matter. That continues to be with us. The first 18 months of any baby, any child, 6 months, 1 year, 18 months, 5 years primarily, they are the most impressionable stage of life, believe me. They are like sponges and they're just absorbing. See, me talking about this is not just for the sake of talking about it. I have seen those things and I have been able to connect the dots. That is why you are seeing me over here. So, in a child, when a child is born, the child first of all wants to move around. He cries, looks for attention. And when there is immediate response, when there is unconditional support, the child feels like, oh, it's a safe world. I'm in safe hands. I can trust. I can move around. I can explore territories further. I can make mistakes. And yet when I look back, I've got someone at my back. And that actually defines the foundation of secure attachment. In contrast, insecure attachment is when as a child I get clues that perhaps I need to be better enough, I need to be strong enough, I need to be wise enough, I need to score enough, I need to be pleasant enough to be approved, and that tells me that it's a relationship which is dependent, reciprocal relationship. So I have to be something to get their love. The world is not a safe place. I have to earn my love. That's the first blueprint. Do you agree? थोड़ी ऊंची आवाज मुझे अच्छा लगेगा. Thank you so much. Sorry? हाँ जी, thank you so much. That's how a baby actually learns how to speak also. जब वो हम उसको बार बार reinforce करते हैं, that's how it goes on. So connecting with children once again, so secure versus insecure attachment style is the foundation of what we all have been living. It's not purely secure, it's not purely insecure, there's generally a mixture, right? Now I bring you back to that same case with which I had begun. Now if I talk about this person, Arjun, yeah, thank you. So the invisible thread of his childhood pains that he had, and now how is he managing? Let's have a look. Now when he talks to his girlfriend, he needs to know if she's moving out of her home. She needs to drop a message. If she has to travel for work somewhere out of the country, are you able to connect what I'm talking about? Okay, so I'm talking about that same insecure person who had connected with me for his love life. So he constantly keeps on checking with his girlfriend, where are you, with whom are you going, why this DP? So if things are not falling into place, he'll call her 50 times, 100 times, 200 times, and I mean my words. That's a real case. So there is this insecurity. Now, which comes from the fact that what kind of childhood he has. Then bringing back, there's a lot of aggression in him. In his childhood, he remembers that the parenting practices were inconsistent. Inconsistent, there was a year when he was given 7 cycles a year. And there was a time when he was beaten blue and black, and he remembered standing in the bathroom with his elder sister and a spoon of red chilies which his mother had put into his mouth. He remembered that day. The boy who tells me that I'm so strong and powerful, who is very regular with the gym, shows his discipline. All those are his coping things, but he cries bitterly and bitterly. That's a real story. It was really touching. That's the reason I'm here. Now, all that he wants to, because in his childhood he felt, I'm not good enough, I'm not sufficient enough, I'm not powerful enough. That's why he wants to dictate terms. So he tells that girl, you should do this. The minute she gets into an argument, he's too good. He'll pamper her like anything. But the minute that comes from her, that she gets into an argumentative mode, he cannot allow that. There starts the dispute. There becomes a problem. And that's his bigger trigger. And because his self-esteem has suffered so much, because of course, as a result of such parenting, I'm sure you can make out, he didn't do well in his school. And a student who doesn't do well in the school, you can imagine uska kya hal hota hai. Bullies, teachers, all that, your low self-concept that falls in. Now, uske baad, because he felt powerless, today he wants to go regularly to the gym to look robust. He wants to have big brands. He loves big brands. It's not bad about it, but see how that comes as a reciprocal response. That's what I want to bring in. So the pain is absolutely real, and yeah, so that's it. So he struggles with perfectionism also, and all that goes back to what we had just discussed just a slide before, that what happens during the childhood, it defines everything. Now for me, of course, another thing that I wish to say, it's just a reflection moment for all of us. So if you come across anybody like a manager who might be very good with the job, but finds it difficult to delegate the job to the juniors. The person could be very good at the task for his own self, But at the same point, he might not be able to draw some boundaries with his colleagues. He might not be able to say no to the bosses and other people. Where does that come from? It comes from, again, that insecure style where you develop that people-pleasing behavior. किसी को ना नहीं कर सकते. The good boy syndrome, the good girl syndrome. एक अच्छी बहू, एक अच्छी लड़की. Never ever come up with a problem. I do not mean that we should become rebels and we should forget our values. But then self-love and taking care of our own self is equally important. Do you agree? सच में? किस सबने नहीं कहा? सच में? Thank you so much. I move further. अभी खत्म नहीं हुई. I bring something more. So as good, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So for me, since it's all about my own life, that's the reason I'm here, I admitted. So when I was working with children as well, या बड़ों के साथ भी, तो the fact I found was that everything was falling into place if I was working with their social, emotional, behavioral aspect, things were being taken care of. But if it is a student and the student is not able to perform well, then what to do? How do I help? So I came across this path-breaking discovery where I landed upon, the structure of intellect theory. This structure of intellect theory kya hai? So when it was Second World War, America wanted the best of the men to be their fighter pilots. Men with the highest of the IQs. So they did find, and when they were put to the task, they found that still they were not able to make it up completely. Where were they missing? That's when US defense system, they employed a psychologist, and he was told to find out that despite high IQ, ये लोग पास क्यों नहीं हो रहे हैं, आगे क्यों नहीं बढ़ रहे हैं? And that's when they discovered the structure of intellect, where they said that our learning process is not as simple as it seems. It's something like a jigsaw puzzle. Like puzzle has got different pieces. So when those pieces come together and fix at the right place, learning happens only then. Most people don't know that. So even one piece of the jigsaw puzzle, if it goes this way, the dimension is changed and still you will have problems. So I've gone down deeper, understanding what happens. These are the basic 5 pillars of that SOI, where understanding सबसे पहले समझना ज़रूरी है, obviously. Then comes memory, which is visual and auditory, and we do work on that too. Then problem solving, evaluation, and creativity, which is the highest pillar. So we work on that, and a confluence of that brings out amazing results. जब हम सुनते हैं, focus नहीं करता, पढ़ तो लेता है, पढ़ लेता है. ऊपर से प्रॉब्लम पढ़नी शुरू करो, फिजिक्स का क्वेश्चन है और नीचे आते आते तक ऊपर क्या लिखा था. I look at the question, I read certain number, but when it comes to writing, I make a mistake. I can tell you orally, but when it comes to putting it on paper, I don't like it. And then in the school, we face problems, focus, memory, disturbing student, parents ko bulao, ye karo, wo karo. And the child gets labeled, but it all goes there. So I believe when we work on the cognitive aspect, and that's what we do at our center, the results are amazing. People who have gone through it, they say we do not want to go further without it. And this is what I have just shared with you, the story of the structure of intellect. I'm sorry. This is one of the most researched programs which I'm using into grooming the children, grooming adults. So I'm not just now working with children only, their families, young adults, and the results have been amazing by His grace. And this is a question. The choice is ours. There is so much to know about our own self, and it all begins with what I wish to do. The change that I wish to see in the world, I have to be that change. Okay? And then it has to be either preventive. When we work with children, it can be preventive, but still we might require it to make it rehabilitative if we are working with our own self. So these are few of the greatest earnings, how our worthy clients have been generous enough to let us know how our working has been going on. Thank you so much, all of you. And so, ever you feel like, or any one of you, or any one of your loved ones feel like that we can be of some help, we are there for you, helping you with all these common day problems. One of my clients also told me that before getting associated with you professionally, I found that I was driving the car, but once I joined your league, it felt like कि मैंने शायद handbrake हटा दी है. So thank you so much. And last of all, I would say, हर 6 महीने के बाद एक better phone version लेने की इच्छा होती है. So how about being our own better versions? Thank you so much. Thank you.